Ed Collins. I was a machinist mate third class. I actually enlisted while I was still in high school, about 3 weeks after my 17th birthday, and I enlisted in the Navy Reserve, and so I did reserve time for that was my junior year of high school, and so and then the whole next year went to basic training that summer at Great Lakes. And then after I graduated in 1964, I left on active duty, and I first went to Newport, Rhode Island, and I was there for about a month, and that was just a whole group of us that were waiting to get assigned a ship. And it seems to me like about maybe 5 or 6 out of 10 were all going to the USS America pre-com school. And the America was not a commissioned ship in the Navy yet. It was still owned by the Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company. And an awful lot of the sort of very new guys out of Great Lakes or people like me who were reservists just going on active were getting sent to the America. So in October of 1964, I reported to NOB Norfolk for pre-com school, and we went to school, firefighting school and damage control and ABC warfare and all that stuff. Lived in barracks. First time I saw it from a distance, and I didn't appreciate just how big it really was. But when we went aboard, we went over on barges. We had to get on barges, and they took us over across the James River from Norfolk to Newport News, and when I first saw it up close, I was just overwhelmed by the size of it. I mean, it was just, you couldn't, of course it was late, it was dark, and you couldn't see the whole ship. So it really, I didn't even then appreciate just how big it was. It took me weeks to even figure out how to sort of find my way around. I mean, I could find my way from our berthing compartment, which was on the second deck, and the mess decks were right above us, so I could find my way there. I could find myself to number 2 main machinery room, which is my workstation, and I could find the head. And for about 2 weeks, that's about all I could do. If I tried to go much beyond that, I was probably going to get lost, But yeah, it's overwhelming when you first see a carrier up close like that, how big it really is. And then we, right after Christmas, we moved aboard the ship, and it was still over in Newport News. It was still owned by the Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company, and we rode the ship over from Newport News to Norfolk for the commissioning, and I was aboard when the ship was placed in commission, and when they set the first watch, I stood one of the first watches. We spent the next 3 or 4 months trying to figure out what we were doing, because there was a crew, it was a very young crew, a brand new ship, and we had a pretty fair amount of trouble, sorting things out and getting things running properly. And seemed about every couple of days or so, I was a machinist mate, so I worked in main propulsion, and that's where the generators were, and we seemed to knock them offline about every second day or so and plunge the ship into darkness, and so we had some real growing pains there at the beginning. And then we took we went down to Guantanamo Bay that spring for operational readiness inspection. Before the ship is really ready to be turned loose in the fleet, they have to make sure that we know what they're doing and the ship is performing the way it was supposed to. And we scored, at the time, I remember we scored the highest score ever given for an aircraft carrier by the Fleet Training Group. Did well, we did well. We stopped on the way home from Gitmo in St. Thomas, and it was our first liberty outside the United States. And I had a cousin who was a few years older than me who was working down there as a teacher. And my mother had told me, and she'd given me this address, and so about 3 of us went walking around St. Thomas, had no idea where we were going, and almost by accident stumbled on the place where she was living, and she had no idea I was coming. Knocked on her door, and she was living with 3 other women school teachers from my hometown, and these 3 sailors show up. One of them's her cousin,